Hey, what's up everybody? This is Power Glove Pixels. On today's video, I'm going to be doing a PlayStation 2 collection. This is a system that I've been collecting over the years, and to be honest with you guys, I was more of a Sega Dreamcast person, but you know, over the years, the PlayStation 2, I should say, I was going to say 3, the PlayStation 2 has proven to have a lot of exclusives and a lot of great games. So this is pretty much a commentary of the games that I made a video, and so as you can see on the video, I have the Astros A50s. If you guys are wondering, these are for the Xbox One. They're wireless. I definitely recommend them. They're really great. A lot of people like the old ones, the Astros A50s from I believe a couple years ago. But for me, these are pretty good. I also have let's see, what else do I see in the video? A Gears of War Omen controller with the Gears of War limited edition. If you guys are wondering what kind of computer I have an Alienware i7 with 32 gigs of RAM. The graphics card, a 1080. Not bad for gaming as well. I also have the Astros TRs, if you guys are wondering as well. So yeah, this is pretty much going to be a new series where I'm going to show collection from different generation eras, from NES, the Super NES, the Nintendo 64, the Sega Saturn, the Wii U, because I have so many games so that I've collected, and honestly, games has always been my passion to be playing. So let's get this video. The first game I have in my video is Grand Theft Auto 3. What the hell am I smoking? Grand Theft Auto 3. I guess I'm thinking Grand Theft Auto 5 in my head right now. Grand Theft Auto 3. This is a game that came out on the PlayStation 2 back in 2001, I believe, and I had a lot of fun playing this game. Getting chased by the cops, and you know, having Grand Theft Auto, the 3D world, for the first time on the PlayStation 2, it was so unique. I just couldn't get enough of this game. I just remember playing so many hours, and yeah, there's just so much fun with that game. So I don't know. So the next game we have is Silent Hill 2. This game is a creepy game that came out on the PlayStation 2, and honestly, back in that time, I remember renting it. Didn't really have it. I actually picked this game years later, but honestly, this is a very creepy game. There's Silent Hill 3 and 4, but for me, Silent Hill 2 is my favorite in the series. Honestly, it just has the atmosphere and the environment of you know, getting around this world of mystery that is just so much to explore. The next game I have is Devil May Cry. This is the original Devil May Cry. Honestly, when this game came out, I didn't really know what to expect. According to the developer of this game, it was supposed to be a Resident Evil game, but over the years it became a Devil May Cry, which is more of an action game. But for some reason, it kind of feels like Resident Evil in terms of some of its mechanics and sound effects. To me, it sounds a little bit like Resident Evil 4. But not a bad game. Good graphics. The next game we have is Kingdom Hearts. This game came out on the PlayStation 2, and not a bad game if you're into RPGs. One of the things about this game is that it has Disney characters with Final Fantasy. You know, it was a very unique combination at the time, and I got pretty far. Can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 3. Who knows when that's gonna come out? It could take years for that to come out, but we'll see what happens in the future. So the next game we have is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This is the original copy with Hot Coffee. If you guys know what that is, it's a mod code. Can't really say too much. Just search for Hot Coffee. It's basically a cheat, a mod, I should say. Now this game is not bad. It's based on San Andreas, which is kind of like Los Angeles in my opinion. It has that 90s vibe of gangsters, cholos, I should say, but not bad. The next game we have is Vice City. This game is great too. It has that 80s vibe, music wise, and just atmosphere. Not a bad game. For me personally, this would be the worst one in the series, but that's just me. Never really got too far in this game, so I don't know what else I could say about that game, but not bad, not bad. The next game we have is I was gonna say something else, but it's God of War, original God of War. Not bad game. Great graphics. The story. I mean, I couldn't get enough of this game, and even playing it today, honestly, looks pretty good. It doesn't look bad, especially 480p, 480p progressive scan. Not bad game. I have so much fun. For me personally, though, I'm gonna say that this is my favorite one in the series. A lot of people like the second one, but for me, the first one, I had so much fun playing this game that I couldn't get enough. So let's get to the next game. The next game is Fantavision. This is a puzzle game. What else can I say about this game? I mean, there's not much to say, honestly. It's just a puzzle music game, and it's really hard. And for me, I couldn't get really far in this game. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. In terms of you looking for a puzzle music game, if you're looking for one, I would say Luminous or Tetris World. I think those are great games, but this one, passable. You can get it really cheap for like $5, I believe, or $3 or something. It's a really cheap game, created by Sony. So I don't know what else to say about this game, honestly. It's like whatever, you know. So let's get to the next game. The next game on my list is the Fast and the Furious. Now, this game is not really based on the movie. It's more kind of reminds me of like a Need for Speed. It's okay. I mean, for me personally, if I want to play a game like this, I would say just go play Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit. I think that's better, or Underground on the PlayStation 2. But this one, not bad. I mean, for what it is, yeah. I mean, you could get a better racing game. I believe I picked this for like what, $3, $2. Not bad game for what it is. So yeah. So the next game on my list is Dragon Quest VIII. Now, this is a game that a lot of people like. Now, me personally, I've been not really a fan of it. I'm more of a Final Fantasy person, but I know in Japan it's really big. I mean, what can I say about it? I mean, I've never really been a Dragon Quest. I know these games are really long, and definitely it's a good game though. It's not a bad game. If you're into this RPGs, definitely not a bad game at all. The next game we have is Dance Dance Revolution Supernova. This game, didn't really play much of it. I played it more in arcades. It's a nice toy game for the PlayStation 2, and yeah, it's not a bad game. I mean, what else can I say about this game? I mean, it's a dancing game with, music tunes from different artists. Not bad. I mean, if you want the full experience, you gotta have that iTunes. And yeah, so I don't know. Never really been a dancing person. So. The next game we have is Madagascar. Was it Madagascar? Yeah, Madagascar. I guess this is based on the movie. Didn't really play it much, so I can't really say much. So let's move on to the next one, Sly Cooper. This is an adventure game. Not bad. Interesting story. Trying to save the villain that you're trying to get from here. Not bad. I mean, if you're looking for an adventure game for the PlayStation 2, you can't go wrong with this game. Went like halfway maybe, and after I kind of stopped playing it for, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just stopped playing it. The next game we have is Jak and Daxter. Now this game is cool. I like the two characters. I like the humor on it. It's pretty fun. It's a fun game. Great graphics. This is from the creators of Naughty Dog. Not a bad game. Not a bad game at all. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for an adventure game and just try to have fun on the PlayStation 2. I believe this game was on the PlayStation 3, I believe, as a remaster. Never played it on the PlayStation 3. I just played the first one on the original one, and I did play the second one and the third one. But for me, I have to get into the first one, the original one. The next game we have is Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer was a launch title for the PlayStation 2. Personally, I was really hyped for this game, but honestly, it didn't really blow me away in terms of graphics. I mean, it's okay. I was a big, heavy Sega Dreamcast person, and at the time, the Sega Dreamcast looked impressive. A lot of games on the Dreamcast look better than what the PlayStation 2 was offering at launch. And for me, this game, not bad. Not a bad racing game. Definitely a game that I could always pop and play. But for me, I'll say that's like the least one in the series. For me, my favorite one will be the first one though. The next game we have is Street Fighter EX3. This is a game that I really, really love, and it sucks that it always gets overshadowed by other fighting games. I think this game is great if you have friends over and you try to play a fighting game together and you got a PlayStation 2. Definitely I would recommend this game. Definitely has a great soundtrack, not better than the first Street Fighter EX on the original PlayStation, but definitely it's a great fighting game, and it sucks that it always gets overshadowed, but it's a great game. It's becoming pretty rare now. I believe this game goes for like between $20 to $30, but for some reason it's really hard to get in the wild. Never really came across it, so definitely I recommend this if you're looking for a good fighting game on the PS2. The next game we have is Metal Gear Solid 2. Now this game, when this game came out, I was blown away. The story and being a big Metal Gear from the original PlayStation, I just couldn't get enough of this game, honestly. A lot of people get confused with this game being the original one on the GameCube. The one on the GameCube is Metal Gear Twin Snakes, it's pretty much a remake of the original one. Now this is not the original. This is not part 1. This is part 2, Sons of Liberty. Now this is the best version in my opinion, because just the performance on it just looks great. There was one on the original Xbox, but it's horrible. I have it on the original Xbox and it's horrible. Performance is horrible. Some of the details are kind of washed out. For me, if you want to play Metal Gear Solid 2, I'll definitely recommend this game, because it's just the best one. It's just the best one overall. It gets some of that motion engine graphics that I had on the PS2. This game, it just looks, it's great on the system. And it sucks that a lot of people think this is the original one for some reason on the GameCube, but the GameCube one, that's the remake of the original, which is part 1. Think about the one on the GameCube, like part 1, not part 2. That is part 1. So definitely there's a lot of confusion going around there. So let's move on to the next game in my list. Now this game, Dark Alliance, what can I say? I mean, this game came out 2004, I believe, and never really been a big Dark Alliance person. I don't know, can't say much. Didn't play it too much, so can't really say much. Next game, Dynasty Tactics. Very strategized game. I don't know. All the games of Dynasty kind of look the same. They play the same. Can't really play too much of this game, honestly. It's okay. Personally, I would probably give it like a 7-ish, 6.57. It's okay. I mean, I would recommend the regular Dynasty games, but it's okay, I guess, if you're trying to look for a good Dynasty game. The next game we have is Devil May Cry 2. Now this one, I'm gonna say that's better in terms of graphically. It looks better, has better effects. They also introduced a new character, which is a 2-disc. Not a bad game. Definitely first and second of Devil May Cry are good. After that, the third one and fourth not that great. The next game, Risk. What can I say about this game? It's like a strategy game. Didn't really play much of it. I don't even know how it's in my collection, honestly, so I can't really say much about it. This game, Risk, I mean, it's okay, I guess. I mean, if you're into those type of games. The next game we have is Dragon Ball Z. A lot of people say that this is one of the favorites on the PlayStation 2. I could be wrong. I really don't know. And I haven't played it for a very, very long time, so I really don't know if this game is actually good. If it's one of the one of the best Dragon Ball games. I would like to know. I mean, just let me know down below if you guys think this is one of the one of the favorites. Because for me personally, I'm gonna have to say the original one on the PlayStation 1 is one of my favorites. But honestly, I don't know what to say. The next game we have is Twisted Metal Black. Personally, I never really been a Twisted Metal Black person. There's a lot of people that love this series a lot, but for me personally, I couldn't really get into it, honestly. At the time when this game came out, the original one on the PlayStation 1, it was okay. The next game we have is SOCOM 3. Honestly, this game, they didn't really play much of it either. I know the second one and the first one are supposedly they're like the best ones in the series, but this one in particular, it was okay. Couldn't get into it too much. I do remember playing it though, but couldn't get into it too much. So the next game in my list is Gran Turismo 4. This is my original copy, and I remember picking this up back in 2004 or 5, I believe this came out. And I was really hyped because I am a big Gran Turismo person, and when this game came out, I don't know, just something about this game. It looked better in terms of graphics, but for me personally, I felt that it felt too complicated to go navigate through menus, and it wasn't very arcadey. It was more, I don't know if that's a word, but it was more true. It was just true sim to me. It was just way too hard. So the next game we have is Resident Evil 4. I'm gonna have to say that this is the worst one in the series. I love Resident Evil 4, but I'm going to talk about this version in particular is the worst one because the graphics are not that great. If you want to play the best Resident Evil 4, I would have to say either play the one on the Xbox, the one that just came out for 1080p remaster on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or the original GameCube. If you have it set up with the component cables, I would recommend it. But I would say that this one, in my opinion, is the worst one, but it's not a bad game. I would say this is probably like the third place in terms of games. So the next game we have Happy Feet. I really don't even know how this got in my collection. Can't really say much, so sorry guys, I really don't know. So let's move on to the next game, Tony Hawk's Project 8. Now, me personally, I've been more of a Tony Hawk's 2, and I played this game. It's okay, but I don't know. I can't say much about this game, honestly. Didn't really play it too much, so can't really say much. I mean, it looks good, but maybe someone likes it a lot. So the next game we have is Gun. Now, this game, honestly, not a bad game. Not a bad game at all. But if you try to compare this with Red Dead Redemption, it blows it out the water, honestly, because of Rockstar. And not a bad game though. Not a bad game if you're looking for a good Western game. So the next game we have is Jackass the game. This is an interesting game because it has a lot of stunts and stuff, and it's fun playing with friends. And I definitely recommend this. Not a bad game. Not a bad game at all. The next game we have is ATV Off-Road Furry 2. This game is not bad. Not a bad game, especially at the time. It was online, I believe. And yes, it was an interesting off-roading game. Great graphics. Definitely hidden gem if you're looking for a game that you're trying to play racing with buddies. Definitely I recommend it. The next game on my list is Ghost Recon. Now, didn't really play much of this game back in that time. Never really been a big Ghost Recon. I don't even know how I got that in my collection, so can't say much. The next game is Onimusha. For me, this feels like a samurai, but Resident Evil style with atmosphere of kind of like Silent Hill in terms of just the way you interact in this world. It just feels a lot like different combinations from either Resident Evil and Silent Hill in terms of like their world and stuff, but in a samurai world. So I don't know if that even makes sense, but it's not a bad game though. The next game we have is Gran Turismo 3. This is one of my favorites, honestly. I played so many hours of this game. I couldn't get enough. I used to play this game with friends and family, and the graphics were amazing at the time for the PlayStation 2. And just collecting and tune-ups, doing your tune-ups of your car. It was just so much fun, and just collecting the cards, it was just so much fun. The next game we have is Final Fantasy X. Now this game, I'm gonna have to say, is gonna piss a lot of people off, but for me personally, this is one of the worst Final Fantasy games. I was really excited for this game, honestly, coming from the PlayStation, original PlayStation. I was a big Final Fantasy 7 person, in an 8, and even a 9. But coming to this one, this is a game either you like it or you hate it. Great full motion videos, story interesting, way better than X2 though. But I don't know, couldn't get it. The next game is Katamari. This is a game on the PlayStation. Honestly, this game is not bad. It's not a bad game at all. But honestly, for me personally, I would say Beautiful Katamari on the 360 is the best one in my opinion. Not a bad game if you're looking for Japanese puzzle music. Collecting stuff in the world. I don't know how to explain this game. It's very, very interesting game that they came up with. Japanese has an interesting taste of games, and I mean, just by looking at the cover, you really don't know what type of game it is. The next game we have is Flat Out 2. Now, this game, they didn't play too much of it. It's like a racer, so I couldn't really say much. So the last game in my list is Tekken 4. Being a big Tekken person, I was looking forward to the game. Great mechanics, full motion video for the beginning. And one of the things I like about this game is that the endings were full motion real time, which was pretty cool at the time. So it wasn't bad at all. And yeah, I really couldn't really, get enough of the Tekken series, and especially with the new Tekken 7 that just came out. It's pretty awesome. So this is pretty much it for the video. Let me know down below what is your favorite PlayStation 2 games, pretty much. And yeah, so give me a like for this video. If you guys want more videos, subscribe so you guys can get the latest videos on YouTube that I create. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is Power Glove Pixels signing out. Till next time.